not really about for you. Should. All right. Here's our quiz file review. I'm basically going to go down the left-hand side of the front and the back and do those problems, and hopefully you will be able to crank out the rest. So for these proportions, we're going to cross multiply. I like to draw my bubbles, and so I'll even do it here. There we go. Now for this one at the top, I have 4 times x is 4x, 3 times 5 is 15, and after you do that, put an equal sign between them. Cool. So let's see what I have. I'm going to divide by 4, and 15 and 4. I have no common factors. That doesn't reduce, so just leave it alone. Don't do anything with that top one, and most of you were able to fly through those when we did them in class. So I'm not too worried about that. This next one, when you have a binomial, the x plus 2, is a bit, it's a little bit more challenging. So let's look at that one. Okay, when you take 4 times a binomial, you have to just make sure to take it times each term. So you have 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. So just make sure that you multiply the 4 by both of those terms. Don't neglect either of them. And then in the other bubble, 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, cool. So from here I have a 2-step equation. You look on the side with your variable. My variable's over here, and you have to do add or subtract first. And I still have some of you asking me about, you see a problem like this and you're like, I don't know what to do. Step 1, look at the side with the variable, and then add or subtract first. Look, whatever you're adding or subtracting to the x. So I'm going to minus 8. Okay, and then do the math you see. 15 minus 8 is 7. Divide by the coefficient. So your answer is 7/4, and that does not reduce. So leave it alone. So when you have a 2-step equation, always add or subtract first, and then at the end you're going to divide. And that's been true for a while. We've been going over it here, and I'm sure you've seen it before. You just need to remember to do that. And there's some of you got to ask right now and won't be able to tell me because you didn't listen. You have to listen. Think about what I'm saying. I'm saying things. Listen. Okay, when you are solving these, you need to think to yourself, did I multiply or divide by negative? And if I did, then I need to flip the sign. So that's the only thing that's different here when you're solving these. So divide by 3. I think my program's set up so that all these come out evenly. Okay, what did I divide by? I divided by a positive 3, so just leave it alone. I divided by a positive 3, so don't change the sign. Okay, negative 6 and 0. Negative 6 is less than C. Negative 6 is less than 0. So shade toward 0. Whoops. An open circle there. Be sure your open circle is really clear. If I can't clearly see whether your circle is open or closed, then I'm not going to give you credit for doing it correctly. I need to clearly see if that is an open or closed circle. Okay, let's scooch this up. Like I said, I'm going to go on the left-hand side. So I have w plus a negative 4, and to get rid of that negative 4, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Okay, negative 4 plus 4 cancels out. Now you could say, wait a minute, this is plus, so I should subtract a negative 4, and that's true, but minus a negative is the same as plus. So I'm really doing the same thing there if you're thinking about it that way. And so those cancel out. 4 minus negative 4 will give me 8 as well, so nothing's different there. Okay, I added 4. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so don't change the sign. Okay, 0 and 8, open circle at 8, and w is greater than 8. 10 is greater than 8. 8 is less than 10. So, sorry, I kind of did this. This is a less than sign, but if it's less than, that means this one has to be greater, so I kind of just thought that in my head. But that is a less than sign. I realized I said greater than. 8 is less than w, so w is greater than 8. You can flip that around in your head or in your writing. Okay, I'll actually just do a couple more down this left-hand side here, and then I'll leave it to you. Still on the left-hand side. Well, c divided by negative 1, so I'm going to multiply by negative 1. Use some parentheses there to set them apart. Make sure they don't look like subtraction. Well, I multiply by a negative, so I need to flip the sign around. Those will cancel. And negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. 3 is less than or equal to C. So 0 and 3, shade in the bubble because of the or equal to. 3 is less than 10, 3 is less than 100, so draw your arrow in that direction. It's important that you think about the idea of we're plugging in a bunch of different answers here that could work for C. The equations we had before only have one answer, so those graphs would be lame. It would just be a point. This graph is saying, look, if any number from 3 and up will work in this original equation and make the inequality true, all of those numbers will work. Okay, let me just do one more, and then I'll shut up. Okay, so here I have f minus 7. To get rid of minus 7, I'm going to plus 7. You always look on the side with the variable. Okay, so negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. If that is something that trips you up, be sure that you have a calculator with you. Many of you have very expensive phones in there on you. You could whip up a $1 calculator, so do it. Make sure you have one if you need it. Negative 2 is greater than f. So let me put negative 2 here. Greater than is an open circle. Don't fill it in. Let's see. Negative 2 is greater than, well, like negative 1,000,000. Negative 2 is greater than negative 3 or 4 because the negative numbers are in the opposite order. So you have to kind of switch around what you're thinking. So negative 2 is greater than negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So draw your arrow in the direction of those numbers. The arrow should include the numbers that work in the inequality. Okay, I think I've said quite enough at this point. Go ahead and try a few of these on your own. You have some time here in class. This will be what's in your quiz tomorrow, so make sure you know what you're doing, you're proficient, and you can do it well.